Come see, huh? Hello, we're live, Bruno and I. Hello, come here. Come here. Come on up. Say hi, Bruno. Say hello to everyone. Huh? Say hello. 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 Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy. Huh? Hello. Hello. Say hello. Say hello. Arr, arr, arr. Hello. Oh, I know. Okay. Let's lay down. You gotta lay down and protect me. Make sure nobody gets me. We are live. It is 7:31. Bruno's in the house. You can see us. I know I haven't pet you nearly enough, except for all day, every day. Tonight we're going to talk about maybe the worst phrase that can be uttered in the English language is "what if," and I get this a lot, and I've done it a lot, and lots of people that I've been around have done it a lot too. And here's the scenario. So the thumbnail that I have up is a GT45 turbo. Now, it's far from being the best turbo ever. You know, I've used it a lot, mainly, and I think that this is the case for a lot of people. We use what we have, and I have that sitting there, and it works. Does it make the most power? No. Is it the most responsive one? No. Is it inexpensive? Yes, it is inexpensive, and it's already available. I already have it, which is why we have run it with so many different combinations, because it's a turbo. And it's a 750 horsepower turbo. And for most of the things that we're running, that works. It works on a 2 liter, or 2.4 liter, 4.8, 5.3, 6.0. We run it on a 454. All of those, it's just worked. But here's the problem whether you're in the design stage of, okay, I'm doing my theoretical build here. I got a 5.3 or I'm getting a 5.3. Now I'm going to get the Richard Holder Performance low buck truck camshaft. I'm going to get those springs, which are now up on the website. You can buy the cam and springs directly from us, which is good. I'm going to buy those springs. I'm going to get the GT45 turbo and injectors, and then we're going to put it in there and do the tune and a pump, and we're going to have a turbo combination that's going to work really good and make lots of power. Okay, great. That's a good idea. That's a perfect plan. Just go execute it now. But here's when things go awry. What if I get a different cam? What if I get the Truck Plus cam, or a BTR hot rod cam, or a Red Hot cam? What if I get a Chupacabra? What if I get this? What if I get that? What if I get a different cam? Okay, a stage 2 turbo cam, stage 3 turbo cam, whatever. What if I get that? Okay. And then the same thing happens with the turbo. Okay, well, I got a GT45 turbo that's inexpensive. Richard's used them a lot. He knows that they work. They run. They do what they do. Okay. Again, is it the perfect one? No. Is the camshaft the perfect one? The best cam? Is it? No, it's not that. But it is what you have, or what you're going to get, and it will work. Same thing with the turbo. Okay, I got this GT45. What if I didn't want to run a lot of boosts and I got a smaller GT35, so it was more responsive? What if I got the, tighter hot side? What if I got the bigger hot side? What if I stepped up to an S475 or the VS Racing 7875 from the Matt over at Sloppy likes so much? Or if I'm doing that, what if I got the next gen version, or the Gen 2 or 3 or next gen, or whatever the newest, latest, greatest thing is? What if I saved up my money and got a real Garrett one? What if I did this? What if I did that? And that's the problem. Same thing with everything. Okay. Should I just use stock heads? Well, what if I got trick flow heads or airflow research heads? What if I change the intake manifold? What if I don't use the truck intake manifold if I'm doing an LS? Well, what if I got the fancy shiny fabricated intake manifold that's available online through everybody, the Holley Sniper-ish kind of manifold? What if I got that? Well, here's the problem is while you're what-ifing your project to death, nothing's happening. And if you would have just gone and got that turbo and got those injectors and got that camshaft and those springs and got your injector, and your pump, and put it together, you can what if now. But while you're what-ifing, you're driving around in a turbo something or other, a truck or a Camaro or Chevelle or whatever it is. You're driving around what-ifing, and you got something done. You will feel a lot better if you got something done, rather than, and here's the problem, is that this is human nature. whatever we have is the thing that we wanted for a really long time. Oh, I finally got this. I can't believe I got this. And then you have that for a while and you're like, okay, you know, what I really need is so with turbos, well, what I really need is more boost. What I really need is a more responsive turbo. What I really need is a shinier turbo. What I need is an intake manifold that makes more low speed power or medium power or top end power. What I need is a good boost controller. What I need is a different, you know, it's what we have. And then, okay, that becomes the new like norm. And that's the thing. You were driving around for a long time, like I have in my truck, in a naturally aspirated truck motor. Could have it in a Camaro or a GTO or whatever it is, and you're driving around in that. And then for the longest time, all you've ever wanted is some sort of turbo combination. God, man, this would be so cool if I had a turbo. Okay, well, I can afford the GT45. I can do an intercooler. We'll fabricate the exhaust. You know, we'll get the injectors. We'll get a tune on it. You know, we'll get all the things that we need. That's not that expensive to do, and we can make it work, and then I can have a turbo combination. And then you get all that, and you're like, oh, yeah, this is really good. Yeah, 7 pounds is good, 10 pounds is good, 15 pounds is good, whatever you're running. This is awesome. This is running great. I've already blown up my 4L60E transmission, which is probably going to happen. I've already done that, and I've got the stage 17 4L60 or swapped over to 4L80 because it was mandatory that I had to do that because obviously I was making too much power. But now I have that and I drive that every day, and that's the problem. And now it has become every day. So now I need to do something different. So instead of the little GT45, I need an S475 or an S480. You know, I want to step up my game. Maybe I want to do a motor. But the thing is, rather than do that while you're deciding on what you're going to do, if you're doing that, you never get it done. If you nitpick yourself to death and do all the research and go, okay, I don't know about this GT45 that Richard said he's used a whole bunch of times. There's so much better turbos. And what about this one? What about this 0.7 AR? And what about this? And what about this? And what about this? What if I get that? Well, if you never get it, the what if wins. And that's not what you want. Just make a decision, get it. Even if it's the wrong decision, it's not going to be the wrong decision. And it also is going to be the wrong decision. If you get that in that particular instance, but for almost any turbo, if you get the turbo, you get the injectors, you get the pump, you get the intercooler, you know, you get a mild cam like the low buck truck camshaft with springs, and you put that package together, I guarantee that you are going to be happy, at least for a period of time. You'll be happy and you'll love it. You'll drive it around on 7 pounds or whatever you want. And then you'll turn the boost up and you'll drive it around for a while and you'll be happy with that. That's the nice thing about the turbo is the what if thing, the you being happy without the what ifs. That like length of time is much longer with a turbo combination because you can turn the boost up. You can go, okay, 7 pounds isn't enough. 10, you know, it'd be good. Like 10 pounds is awesome. Turn it up to 10 pounds. Oh, that's great. I'll drive around like that for several days or weeks or whatever. And then you go, yeah, I really need to turn it up. I think I could go more. I think I'm going to put good gas in. I'm going to get E85. I got big enough injectors. I'm going to turn it up to 15 pounds or whatever. And then you do that. And then so you've taken this period of time where you've grown, but this whole time you've been enjoying your thing. And it doesn't matter whether you're doing this to a Pontiac or a Dodge Ram or whatever you're doing it to, all of that is good. So get that done and do it. And then enjoy life for a while you're enjoying your turbo combination. And then like all of us, that becomes the normal thing. 7 pounds is the normal thing, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 20 pounds. If you ever get to 20 pounds, whatever that is, it becomes the normal thing. And then you get used to it. You're like, okay, I want something more, or I want something different, whatever the thing is. Maybe while you're doing that with your junkyard motor that you didn't even check ring gap on, and you're maybe now during that period of time, you have built another motor, another 5.3. You got rods and pistons from, you know, Summit Pro LS stuff, and put it together. It has head studs. You know, you've either done a Super Richie razor blade rebuild or actually had it machined and then has the, you know, put good gaskets on it. So now you can not only run the combination that you have and without your fingers being crossed that you would blow it up because you didn't know what the ring gap was. You can now turn this thing up to another level with an S480 or an S485 or something, something bigger that's 4-digit power level. If you haven't already blown up your transmission, your rear end and stuff, you can now graduate to something better. But if all you do is sit there and go, I wonder if I should just get the S478 to begin with, that's not a bad idea. But whatever the idea is, just make the decision and do it and get it, don't get it right, get it running. But do that, get something on there and get it working. Because like I said, no matter what you get on there, even if you put the S475 on there to begin with, you're going to go, well, that's a T6. It's actually a little bit laggier than I wanted, probably, particularly on a 4.8. But if you put the GT45, your little starter turbo and the starter intercooler and all that, your 80-pound injectors and a small camshaft, low buck truck camshaft, put that in there, you will be happy driving that around. It'll be so much more fun than what the NA motor was, whatever you have it in. You don't need to what if yourself. Just do it. And then, like I said, later on, you can go, okay, now that I've done this and I've been driving around, had fun for a week, a month, a year, 2 years, whatever, however long it is. Now you've grown with the more boost. Now you can decide, hey, look, it'd be good, it'd be better than one of these turbos is now I want 2 of these, and now I have room. I'm going to put 2 of those on there. I'm going to put bigger injectors in them. I'm going to put the motor that I put together with the Summit Racing, Pro LS stuff, and now we can utilize the 1500 horsepower with the turbo that we have on there. We know it's going to be laggy. I'm going to put a converter in, and then you have a whole nother what if situation, but you already had something that you enjoyed in the meantime, and that, let's face it, that's a much better way to go. Have you ever what ifed yourself when beginning a project build? I'm in the yes category. I definitely have done that. So much so that sometimes it just never gets done, and that's not a good situation. My dog can beat up your dog. Yep, that's people. Richard, hello everyone. Brad, Nathan. Yeah, the puppy's awesome. That's Bruno. He's good. He's good peoples. Best cam for a 6.2 truck. What are you trying to get done? I could zero in on it. Just tell me what you want. Because you're going to tell me what the best cam is. You're going to tell me what the best cam is by telling me exactly what you're trying to achieve. And then we could pick that best cam. What if I had more money? That's a really good what if. You get points for that. What are your thoughts about my thoughts? Affordable is everything. Yeah. Yeah, I had somebody try to argue with me about on the 5.3 build that I did, not build. I say build because we're not building a motor. I got it from the wrecking yard, that L33, and then we put the trick flow heads on it that the guys from Brian Tooley ported, and then his stage 4 camshaft, and then the BTR Trinity intake manifold. So it made like 540 or something. And he was talking about what a terrible idea this is. If you're doing that, you should just go ahead and rebuild the whole thing. I'm like, you don't understand what affordable is. Because if you can do this and have it do that and not have to rebuild the whole bottom end with forged rods and forged pistons and all the machining and everything, so you can spend a few more $1,000s on that if you want to do that. We didn't have to do that because the wrecking yard motor had already provided that. It provided a running motor, and it worked just fine. It's not ideal. It has some blow by, but it still made those numbers. So it's still like represented when it was time. Todd, is that to me? Oh, Alan. Okay, I get it. I got you. Trying to build the largest displacement for a cylinder and to build the block out of steel. Trying to build a large displacement 4-cylinder? Is that what you're trying to? Is that what you're saying? I just go with what suits my needs. That's it. Considering a 3-inch turbo for a Chevy 292, but only basic cams available. Started ordering parts today. That's a good step. That's a good step forward in the right direction. Do you want high RPM or bottom end or top end? Pistons come in on November 18th. It's not too long ago. Not too long from now. Never forget this date, November 12th, 1955, Spring Valley Clock Tower. We're going back. Todd, you are going to small claims on that? That's good. I'm guilty of that, waiting to get it perfect instead of getting it running. Yeah. Are we philosophizing or procrastinating? That's it. And you can you can self-justify all you want. And so it could be ultimately you'd be deciding that. You test on small block Ford Elbrock 3881 truck, manifold upper and lower. I've seen it drops off a little after 5,000. I don't know that I've tested that manifold, but it wouldn't surprise me if that RPM range would be seems. I don't think that you'd expect it to run very high if it's a truck manifold. If it's a truck manifold, I would expect them to want it to make low RPM, but I just don't know what the runner length is. What I need is mirrored polished turbos. Exactly, right? Then if you do that, then you have to have all the rest of the stuff has to be shiny too. The intake manifold has to be that, the throttle body, all that stuff. Random, what's the max lift cam in a 3rd gen 5.3 LS with its dish pistons and ported 862 heads? By the way, going twin turbos. The lift is irrelevant. The duration is what you have to worry about. And if you're going twin GT45s, are you trying to make a lot of power? Because that's 1,500 horsepower with the turbos. If you don't go chrome it, save the clock tower. After finishing my turbo truck, my first turbo vehicle, congratulations. I know I want to put a turbo in everything. It's hard not to have boost because then when you don't have boost, you're like, yeah, this is like 100% turbo lag now, all these NA motors. It might be ugly, but it sure is slow. That's right. I get it going first and then get it right. Yeah. Don't get it right, get it running. So disconnect variable valve timing with camshaft upgrade or tune it in for the turbo. For what kind of application? If it's an LS and and you have VVT, you have to buy a VVT specific camshaft. I took my Turbo Smart springs to my best friend's house and told them to hide them, and I kept 14 pounds worth of spring for my turbo just to save my engine. You shouldn't be running 14 pounds when you first put the motor together. You should have a 7-pound spring in there and not ever go over that and drive it around like that for a while till everything's right. The what if bug has had me for 2 years. See, Brad, you come to the right place. You're right, Richard. I'm guilty of that. 6 is good, 10 is better. 14, 20, yeah, boom. And don't you want to drive it around and enjoy it for a while before you break it? And the way that we do it is we want to make sure everything's right, and we do that NA, and then we do that at low boost, and then we do it at medium boost, and then if we're going to run high boost, then we do it on Hayabusa. I'm content with naturally aspirated. That's all good. Yes, you do your thing, man. Would exhaust gas temp gauge help? Airplanes have head temp from sensors. Would it help with what, Dan? I used an EGT in my Mustang with a Vortec blower on it. It was in there for a really long time. I ran it in the Silver State and drove it around everywhere. It's good, but an EGT doesn't really tell you air fuel, though. And I would argue the air fuel is even more valuable because you can alter EGT with timing. Before you know it, you're running 85 and 35 pounds of boost while children, small women, children run away when you're at the stoplight. First name basis with all the local police. I was tuning a Gallant VR4. Very nice. I do like those. We ran on the spring. I got it working. Put it on the manual boost controller. Ran on an injector at 20 pounds. I said, take the manual boost controller off the car when you get home until injectors. It is because a lot of people can't, and I think Todd is one of these people. They can't stay out of boost. But it would take the mortician 2 weeks to get the smile off your face. There you go. I'm scrolling. Man, it scrolled way down. Here we go. So on a smaller cubic inch V8 like a North Star, I think it would be better to go with a GT35 turbo for a daily driver and not a race car. 500 to the crank. Yeah, that's a good size turbo for 500. It's always good to challenge yourself. You can learn and excel if you're always in your comfort zone. It's not a good idea to, when you're tuning, to set it on 20 or 30 pounds and then try to tune it on that. That's not a good way to go. I'm not saying you don't eventually get there, but you get there during the tuning, you get there the right way so that then you can go out. If you want to go do that all the time, you then do that all the time. Can you run a turbo in a Yukon and still keep DOD, or is it a bad idea? I don't know of anybody that's run DOD with a turbo. I would think since you're only using DOD under cruise conditions, the turbo shouldn't affect that at all. I just don't know how the cam and lifters are. Well, the cam is not going to be a problem, I don't think. The lifters maybe won't have a problem with that. Went 932 at 147, weighing 3,300 pounds with a Truck Norris NSR cam, no ring gap, stock rod and head bolt, Gen 3 motor, 88 millimeter T6 flange, 132, and a carburetor from Kevin. That's good. But if you split your 302 block in half, that's right. You do that at 400 horsepower. If you go to 401, it's all done. My project this year has largely been get it running. There you go. I think I figured out my glowing manifold issue. I think it's due to me putting timing to 0 degrees. Yeah, that they don't like that. Mark, you were right about the 3800 at work. New engine showed up and I just put that module in the car. No more misfires, burns oil, probably PCV valve. Oh, good. So you fixed the situation. That's cool. It's always nice when something works out. Are you a fan of a Coyote engine and a Fox? Yeah, I think that's a cool combination for people that want to do that. If so, what type of transmission would you run it with? I myself like manual transmissions. If I was drag racing for money, I think I probably would do an automatic. But I'm more of a road racer, so I think I like manual transmissions better. Realize it when I set it to 0 via the piston, putting a new reluctor setup on. Okay. Sure, what's your horsepower to weight ratio? I feel like you've asked this question before. Have you ever pulled an upper intake from a 3800? Those plastic ones. Last one I did was full of oil. Yeah, those are not good, and they melt, and the seals get bad, and all kinds of stuff. No brakes. 5-to-1, let's say. 10-to-1 is probably a realistic number, but I don't think it's horsepower to weight, because I think that a lighter weight car is going to be funner anyways, because even if it has less power for handling and stuff, it's going to handle better. It's going to brake better. So even if you had something that had a lot of power, but it weighed more, it's still not going to be as fun because it's not going to handle as good. My rotating assembly is on hold pending my bank issue a fraud affidavit to the vendor. Uh-oh. Kyle, Recport L96 6-liter truck intake. BS 485 102 turbo. eBay passenger side turbo manifold fed under by stock driver's manifold. Cool. Okay, I'm with you. Leaning towards a stock used LS3 cam or something super mild for drivability. Okay. An LS3 is not going to be very responsive, but if you want to put some sort of stock cam in there, that will make decent power. Todd, thank you for the offer. I'm good. I think I found the source for my Holly's Super Rich Idol. I think the body was not flat or the primary metering block made it up. Those things should be milled, but was it leaking? Did you try tightening it down on, on the gasket? What if I would have went to Summit for $100 more? Eric, you're the friendly LT1 owner looking for love. Is this a Gen 5 LT1? A Gen 2? Which one is it? A lot of sentiment like that on a recent Power Nation video probably won't be as cheap as. Then they cut to, we're going to use a Haltech. Power Nation has stuff thrown at them. They're high dig stuff. So far, shout out, I've got a 91 Vet, 97 Civic, 06 GMC 2500, HD. Nice. Trying to find a buyer for an L98 and trans from my 91 C4. What transmission is it? Is this 700 or something from that? I have to check my tune before I get my engine fired up again because I definitely don't want to suffer the same catastrophe. Did you send me that information, Todd? Did I forget? I have a ProCharge 496 big block Chevy street motor, makes 1,000 horsepower at the tires on E85. Nice. Running a 4150 fast throttle body. Is there any power to be made by going to a 4150 90 with a single blade? I don't think you're going to see any difference there. I've only ever done one test on the throttle body like that. A 105 might flow more. And actually, I think that there would be, if it does, there would be more of an argument that it probably would show a power gain NA over a boosted one because you don't have a flow deficiency once you've pressurized it. It's the limit of the OptiSpark. I don't know. I've never run one. We've never run that on the engine dyno. I mean, the OptiSpark is just distributing spark, right? Like the distributor does. I think if you put an ignition amplifier on it and put the plug gap down, as long as the OptiSpark was working properly, I don't think you'd have a problem with making power. Go into a 4500 setup. Okay. A 4500 intake manifold might be worth some power. My what if right now is, do I get an ECU Titan? Keep trying to fight the Mega Squirt, do a Speeduino, or go to a Max ECU. Near. Working on putting a 4-inch exhaust on my truck. A straight pipe is just too much attention, but it sounds NASCAR. Oh, okay. I scrolled too fast. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, here we go. Have you read or seen where a 351 Windsor late EFI 2-bolt mains start walking if you run boost plus RPM? At what level does that happen? It didn't happen when we were into 4-digit stuff. My mom's van squeals 247 with new stuff, but no marks, so I feel the problem. That's besides the Vortec 4200 swap question. At the same time, my stuff is running good enough right now. Cool. 6.2 daily driver cam or turbo. Yes, we always want both. Obviously, I mean, the cam in that would make fairly good power. If you're wanted as a daily driver, the cam's going to be mild, like my low buck truck camshaft. That's going to be 50 or, well, it's going to be 60 or more horsepower on a 6.2. But the turbo will make a lot more power than that, and it will make, especially if you pick like the GT45 or something. I mean, it's more work and it's going to be more money, but it's going to be like twice the, certainly easily twice the power that a camshaft adds. Seems like I remember OptiSparks having issues after 6,500. You dodged my question. I didn't dodge the question. I actually answered the question. Lift isn't the issue. Lift is there's not a max lift because that doesn't determine piston to valve clearance. Piston to valve clearance is determined by duration and valve events, but somewhere in the 230 to 235 at 50 on the intake is the iffy area. So your customer wants a Gen 3 5.3 with twin GT45s, and they want the biggest cam that you can put in there. They are not going to be happy with that combination. But if you want big cams, the big cams that you would put in there, a Summit Stage 4 deal or the BTR, that Stage 4 LS3 camshaft is really big. You can put a Stage 3 in there too. Have you tried or tested Gen 5 LT1 heads on a Gen 3 or Gen 4 stuff? I read there are adapters out there to make this happen. Yes, we have done that. When I say we, I mean Brian's done that. But I can't remember now. Does anybody know? I have a video up, and I can't remember which direction he went. Whether he put the Gen 5 heads on, I think he put the Gen 5 heads on the LS. But the problem with that is it's really expensive because you need a custom cam, you need the heads, you need to do the work to make the heads work, you need the LT rockers and valve covers, you need LT headers, and you need LT intake manifold. And so it's just not, it's there are such good heads available for LSs that it's not really necessary. There. My OptiSpark is acting up with 1,000 rural horsepower goal. I don't know if I should buy a torque head or a 6-liter. OptiSpark works until it doesn't. 100% bone stock 5.3 with 7.665. What PSI will it hit 600 crank? 76.65. So that motor makes like 350. The way that we run it on the dyno, I think it did it at like 10 pounds. Yeah, it was less than 10 pounds. So it should do that at less than 10 pounds. Yeah, Bob, you're still doing your intercooler project, right? I'd like to see some Crown Vics come out with coyotes, with Whipples would be even better. Will the coyote fit under the hood of that? That would be kind of a sweet little stealth ride. Got so many projects that if I think, what if I did this instead, I can just do it on another project. Got the bug from sloppy mechanics. My first L swap was my dad's 66 Pontiac. Put a GT45 on it. Still a ride to drive. I've since done 2 other swaps, one with the turbo. Those are good. Yeah, Matt does good stuff over there. There. See, Eric, Mark's hooking you up over there. The custom DIY EFI. DIY EFI, yeah. It's an unfortunate rhyme. Holly main body, I filed it, and there was definitely a depression about the power valve cavity. Okay. I'm thinking my 76 C10 will need a turbo on the 6-liter that I put in it. Yes, they all do, right? And the final plan for a supercar killing streetable all-wheel drive, 2 front high, all of that, whatever that is. An E85, drag radials all around. Cool. I was watching Steve Morse. He does good stuff. He's talking about running his 540, have 50 pounds of boost. Get the kinks out, then he'll go to 80 pounds. He has lots of runs at 50 pounds. L98 was an Australian engine. Yeah, I thought he was talking about an L98, the Tuneport motor. Yeah, that's right, Getaway? TPI L98 and 91. Yeah, I got that. .52 ejector stuck open. Engine hydrolocked under starter power. What's the chance it doesn't hurt? Slim to none. At the very least, that one rod is probably bent. You might have crushed a ringland or something. Yeah, you'll have to take it apart and see. You could do if you've taken all the fuel out, taken the plugs out, and spun it over by hand and get all of the fuel out of it, you can do a cranking compression test, and usually that will tell you if one of those is down. I'll resend you the information. Are you able to view it? View my data log? Yeah, the data log is not, I'm not that concerned with the data log. Well, I guess I should be. I just want to see what your tune is. I want to see what values you've put in for air fuel and timing based on map. And then the data log would be helpful to see where you are when things happened. It would help me like zoom in on the offending area. Near. OptiSpark has a crank and cam sensor stuff in it, but yeah, it shouldn't matter. On the only thing that should create a difference is high RPM. Starter usually doesn't bend rods, but if the cylinder lit off, you're in bad shape. We have bent rods on the starter. Hopefully find a decent deal on a 6-liter or 6.2 aluminum one. If you want a good OptiSpark, get the MSD top of the line. It will last. You can adjust the timing a little. Cool. Coworker acquired a 5.3 from a 99 Suburban, 862s. Get away. Wales, Neil, what's going on? Answered what I told the customer. Yeah, I think he would be much happier with a like one of my cams or a Truck Norris or that kind of thing. And because his twin GT45s are not going to be very responsive on a 5.3. Shadow, I put Gen 5s on the LS. Yeah, I didn't do that, but Brian did. I just covered it. My 6-liter log manifold setup looks much like an old factory Grand National. When the S485 102 is going to have back pressure issues. How mild would you go with the cam timing? Like I said, my recommendation always is like the Truck Norris or my low buck truck or Chopacabra, that kind of thing. That's a good cam, and I don't know how much power you're wanting to make, but you can easily go to 4-digit stuff and have good response and stuff, and has a little bit of a chop too, so you can has just the right amount of chop. What if E85 twin turbo supercharged meth injection spray, all of it, 46 pounds of boost. Thanks for the help. Now I need a tune for turbos. What should I use? Or who should I use? You can talk to James Short at Short Tuning. I like building stuff that no one else is building. Sometimes those parts are cheap. Get the other guy's stuff. Got the rings for boost, but using the motor NA now. Will this have an issue with major blow by? No. Hey guys, what's the truck 6-liter aluminum code? LY6. Can't figure it out. It's LY6 is an iron block. LS2 would be aluminum. What else is aluminum? Is it L76 aluminum? On a 6-liter. Had some friends come by and help get the 408 Windsor into a factory 5 Cobra. That's kind of cool. I kept everything for boost because I know myself that's a good idea. It's better be safe, right? Exhaust intake runs bay to bed. Nice. L96 is one. Cool. Boost is good. A little bit more boost is better. How much torque? Kind of stock 351 handle. We made 4-digit torque levels on the when I tried to do the Big Bang. Less boost and more horsepower is best for keeping it alive. Currently in a roadblock, a junkyard 5.3 build. Been sitting on stand for 2 years. Come on, Tim. What ifs are for people who don't know cars or engines? No, I don't think that's the case, Dean. I think we're all guilty of that. We always think, well, what if I did something different? Because you can. What if I went up the next step in camshaft? Would I hate it that much? The other guys have all the fun. My first modified car was a junkyard combination. Cool. I never once thought, what if? Never. I find that hard to believe. You have a vivid imagination. I've got a 2000 Triumph Sprint Sport touring bike that wants boost. That would be good. 3-cylinder. Are you familiar with any 200 horsepower size turbos? The SX guys use them a lot. Yeah, I would think so. The turbo that I got for my they probably have GT18s or the GT20 that I got is a 200 to 250 horsepower turbo, I think. L94 aluminum 6.2, L86 aluminum 5.3. That's all that you know. I sold the car in 1994. The guy who bought it said it was perfectly geared. John, what's going on, man? My first car was a Renault 14. There wasn't a Renault R5 Turbo, R5 Turbo 2. $300,000 barn find. 1995 Trans Am. You know, it's like the first time you see a Trans Am. What Shadow Ops? I've never heard of an LZ1. The other ones I've heard of. The best stuff comes from What Ifs. Yeah. I would have been annoyed if it was a 5. Those cars are so cool. I got to see one of those up close way back. A guy that had a shop, he had a customer that brought it in there, and it stayed there for, I don't know, 2 months or something. He would never let us drive though. I'm like, dude, we got to at least take it out on the road and see what it's like. When are we going to get a chance to drive one of these? And then Rick Titus brought over one of the Shoguns to the show shop too, with the SHO Taurus in the back. That was kind of cool too. What's the highest boost you've ever run? The Big Bang one is the highest boost I've ever run on the dyno, and that was 29, almost 30 pounds. What's up with the Omni? I haven't gotten it yet, and I do have a trophy 4-cylinder. It's ready to test. It's all been rebuilt. Dean, you bought a Fox Mustang because you wanted to put a 460 or 429 in it? That's rolling the money. I just buy a new LS3 block. One can wish, right? Those things are not cheap anymore. They are not cheap. How's our poll doing? Have you ever what if yourself when beginning your project? 80% are saying yes. Limited availability of engines in Costa Rica. Do they have, Eric, do they have GM trucks there? I was looking at a 351M. We were 150 pounds on Alice Chalmer diesel, the compound turbo setup. Well, Dan wins. Dan wins the high boost award. High boost and GSXR 1000 front ends with their inverted forks bolt into older Sprints, which makes for a killer custom Euro bike. Simple-sided swing arm looks coolio too. Oh, cool. Mostly AFRs 2017 and up. I tend to research a lot, but I also write a plan down and then I stick to it. That's good discipline. Can we expect a trophy for you? Ba-dum-bum. Chuck Norris method for all projects. Chuck Norris never what ifs. Everything I saw was in Hot Rod. The 1981 351 Cleveland Stroker by Jack Roush made a huge impression. I probably still have that. I think that was in one of the engine specials books that they did. I might have that. Trophy 4-cylinder. Yeah, I haven't tested it yet, but I want to. I do want to run that little thing. I just want it to run and be happy. Chuck Norris's engine tells the dyno how much it makes. I know. I love all that Chuck Norris stuff. The guy's a national treasure. LZ1 is another hybrid truck SUV. It's a cathedral port. If they never made pony cars, where would racing be today? Well, we wouldn't have had the Trans Am series, but we would have had the under 2-liter Trans Am series still with the 510s and the Alphas and stuff, which was also cool. Weird question. Want to see the new BMWs on the dynos? The headers are glowing purple. Are they discolored because are they titanium or some kind of weird stainless that glows at a different color? Any left for Steven Seagal? No Steven Seagal cams. No, I watched all of Steven Seagal's movies, but the Aikido thing is not nearly as Chuck Norris as Chuck Norris is, because he was a karate competition champion, so he was like the real deal. Everything needs to be imported, so it's 2 times the cost. Yeah, that's not good. I sold my Fox after the accident and bought an RB25. Nice. It was getting a D-turboed Skyline GTR for $5,000 with cash. Have you seen the bit about Steven Seagal being a cop? I saw that. I saw a couple things on that. Tuning K24 turbos, max overlap, always got the turbo lit easier, but cam advance was incredibly different for max average output. I can see how a Truck Norris would like turbo best average power. Well, you can look at the NA power curve and see what it's going to do. It just does what the NA power curve does. And that Truck Norris style cam has pretty good low speed power. Been thinking about doing work on my XR650. Wasn't sure how far I can push it with it being air cooled. Would there to be an air fuel ratio that would be cooler, less prone to preignition? Yeah, you can run it richer. And then on air cooled stuff, people tend not to run it under boost if that's what you're doing for as long. No brakes. I love Steven Seagal. People lampoon the guy. That's cheap. I watched all of his movies back in the day. And John Claude Van Candied Yam. That's why I like all of the Expendables movies too. I think that they're fantastic. That's exactly what I want in a movie. That's why I like when he had Lone Wolf in there. I thought that was fantastic. Sorry, barking. I was work alone. There's nothing better than people making fun of themselves. Hopefully, I can find a buyer for the engine trans. Dropped out of the car. I recently bought a 70 MG midget. Trying really hard to fix it, sell it versus keep it, make it silly. Turbo sway bars, it's so tiny. They are. You need to put a rotary in that and a 5-speed rotary transmission, like an RX-7 swap, and then a turbo. Vivian, I did not go to SEMA. Bloodsport Mentos commercial. Sean Claude, canned ham, candied yam, fried spam, all of those. My buddies and I would go off on that. But again, I watched all of the movies. You can't not watch that stuff. It's exactly what you want. I have a particular set of skills. I've never seen any of those, any of the Liam Neeson movies. I haven't seen any of those. I have seen all of the. I like the ones with Denzel. What was his deal? He had a couple that were in a row. What was not Transporter, which is also good, which is I do like Jason Statham. And obviously John Wick and all that stuff. Those are all fantastic. There. Is anybody gonna tell me what never mind. Do it myself. The Equalizer, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, Bear, come on. Those are good. I like he looks at his watch. Man, that took longer than I thought. It took more than 18 seconds. We all learned a lot from you. You should pick a few of us for a live trivia. See how much we actually know. Isn't that going to see how much I know too? So you're saying if I put an AMR blower on it to use alcohol and maybe let it cool down after a bit of use. The AMR blower is good for about 150 horsepower. There. You like JAG? Judge Adjutant General? Is that what it is? Denzel's the best part, even upside down. That was a good movie too. Just Advocate General. Okay. I don't know if I was thinking adjutant or something like that. That makes more sense. Never invite a Jag driver to your house? Uh-oh. Looked up Tom Segura's bit on Steven Seagal. Yeah, flight's good. Got a couple more minutes. We'll close out our poll. 82%. We've what ifed. Everybody, that happens. Jaguars used to make small Chevy shops. I've seen a couple of Turbo LS ones. I actually saw over at the wrecking yard over by West Tech that I go to, there was a Jag there that had a small block Chevy in it. It was pretty cool. It even had an Edelbrock intake manifold on it, which is kind of awesome. Kind of cool to see that there. '88 Jaguar XJS. My brother had an XJS with a small block in it. The way that they should have come from the factory. Yeah. That's kind of why I like the Jensen Interceptors, because they came with big V8s in them. Prisoner Flight with Nicolas Cage. Yeah. Con Air. Have you watched much of Matt Smith's films? What films are those? Give me some film names. Have you seen Freiburger's Dragoneer? Yeah, I've seen that on Instagram and stuff. Yep, Jaguar in the junkyard. Yeah, it was cool. Made me really want the small block out of that for some reason. Oh, Braden, that's why I didn't recognize it. That's Kevin Smith that you're talking about. Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob, those are all great. Yeah, Clerks, Jay and Silent Bob, I've seen all of them. Chasing Amy. Reservoir Dogs is not Kevin Smith, but good. And now somebody needs to mention Akira Kurosawa films if you're really going to get, the essence. Speaking of junkyards, just going to buy a mechanical LS throttle body from Pick Apart. I left it on the counter and walked out when they said $95. Yeah, no, you can keep that. You're obviously very proud of that and you want to keep that. Well, putting my FR500 intake into a big bore stroker changed the peak power RPM compared to a 4.6. Yes, on a bigger motor, the peak RPM might come down a little bit. But your FR500 should be a dual runner one. Like the one that I had was a dual runner. Is that one a dual runner one? I need to see Super Troopers. Yep. Yep. How do you like them apples? But that was Good Will Hunting. That was Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's movie. I got a number. How do you like them apples? And then I like when they did the remix, when Kevin Smith did the remix with those guys. That was funny. Why are you barking? Do you need to go out? Okay. And on that note, it is time to go. And we've been here more than an hour now. And obviously Bruno is telling me, hey, look, you're done with your live feed. I got stuff I got to do. There. Okay, you ready? Okay. Is Timmy trapped in the well? Bark. What? Okay. Apparently he is. Apparently he's trapped in the well. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.